All right. I haven't had Mountain Dew in years, and it's not that bad, actually. All right, so Mountain Dew. We'll start in the 1930s, where Barney and Ollie Hartman, two brothers that were living in Georgia at the time, decided they were going to move to Knoxville, Tennessee. The Hartmans were big whiskey drinkers, like a lot of people were in the Deep South at the time, especially ones that are in Tennessee. They would normally mix their whiskey with something called natural setup. But whenever they made the move from Georgia to Tennessee, they could no longer get natural setup. And instead of having it shipped to them or travel to get it, they decided that they would just make their own mixer to replace this natural setup. So Barney and Ollie got in the lab and they started mixing up a few different experiments, kind of see what they liked, see what they didn't. And they came up with a carbonated lemon lime drink. They decided to mix this with their bourbon, and it reminded them of the taste of homemade moonshine, which is exactly what they were going for, so they labeled the experiment a success. When it came to brand their new drink, Barney and Ollie decided on the name Mountain Dew because it was an old Southern slang term for homemade moonshine. After years of drinking and enjoying Mountain Dew on their own, the Hartman brothers decided that they wanted to take this to the public and really get some revenue coming in so that they could expand the business. But the problem was that every local store that they tried to pitch it to didn't want any part of this no reputation soda that nobody had ever heard of. But the initial hardships of trying to get this soda into stores really didn't stop the brothers from talking about Mountain Dew and spreading it to anybody who would listen. One day, when the two were giving out samples on a train, they would meet a man named Charles Gordon. Charles Gordon happened to be the co-owner of the popular regional beverage called Dr. Enough. This soda, Dr. Enough, was actually distributed by a company called Tip Corporation. So after some convincing from Mr. Gordon, the Tip Corporation decided to buy Mountain Dew in the hopes that their industry connections would help the struggling soda brand and that they could turn a profit from it. They did alter the original recipe a little bit. It wasn't just the standard lemon lime beverage that the Hartman brothers came up with. They decided to add a little lemonade to this original recipe. But whatever Tip Corporation decided to do with the beverage, it clearly worked because in 1964, the Pepsi company came knocking on the door and they offered to buy Mountain Dew. So for decades, Mountain Dew popularized itself using the image of a barefoot, gun-toting, moonshine-swinging Appalachian man named Grandpappy. The company's catchphrases, too, relied on stereotypes surrounding country life in Tennessee. The most popular slogan for a time, it's kind of a weird one, but it was, "I'll tickle your innards." So I guess that's what Mountain Dew is supposed to do. You can let me know in the comments if Mountain Dew has ever tickled your innards, and we might have a bigger problem on our hands. But in 1970, Pepsi rebranded this image from this country brand to appeal more to young people living in cities. And after they reworked this branding of Mountain Dew, sales instantly took off and it became a big hit. But the tweaks to the brand weren't quite done yet. In 1974, Pepsi added orange flavoring to the drink and also dyed it its signature color that you see today. Fast forward to the end of the 1990s and Mountain Dew would switch it up again. It would become associated with extreme sports. And because of this, they decided to rename the brand from the word mountain to just MTN Dew, because apparently MTN is a lot more extreme than the full word mountain. So there you go. In 2001, new flavors of Mountain Dew started hitting the market. The most successful at the time, which I'm sure you've heard of, is the Code Red Mountain Dew. Also in 2004, Mountain Dew and Taco Bell joined forces, as I'm sure you guys know where I'm going with this. Famous Baja Blast was created. The bluish-green concoction was a big deal. And seriously, people were and continue to be obsessed with the drink. It tastes great, it mixes well with alcohol even, and it pairs perfectly with whatever you order from Taco Bell. The success of the Baja Blast showed Mountain Dew that they actually probably had a little bit more pull than they initially thought whenever it came to capturing a little bit more market share. So they set their sights on the gaming market next. They appealed to gamers by understanding that gamers were most likely up at all hours of the night playing their game, and they needed energy to do that. And instead of the inconvenience of making a whole pot of coffee, why not just grab a bottle of Mountain Dew? This 20 fluid ounce bottle right here has a little over 91 grams of caffeine in it. So less than your typical coffee, but definitely a lot more convenient. And that's what gamers need. Quick caffeine so they can keep playing their games. And that's the exact branding that Mountain Dew went with whenever it made its pitch to try to capture some of that market share for gaming energy drinks. Over the next few years, Mountain Dew would slowly break away from extreme sports and really go all in on this gaming model. And the company started doing promos that tied to game releases, got professional gamers to endorse the drink, and started slinging new flavors with gamer-inspired names like Voltage, Whiteout, Sweet Lightning, and Frostbite. Today, Mountain Dew continues to be a top choice for gamers looking for a bit of extra energy, or really anyone who reaches for a soda from time to time that likes a little bit more caffeine than your typical drink, but also likes a very unique flavor. It may have been a roller coaster of a ride for the Mountain Dew brand overall from its inception, but it continues to be one of the most popular sodas today. Check out this video right here for more short history, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.